Welcome back everybody to Mega Man 4, Buster Only No Death Run. And after we take care of the Suspicious Game's generosity, we're going to move on to a rather short level, which is just the prelude, of course, to the Robot Master rematches, which is everybody's favorite thing to do in any Mega Man game, especially those who are trying to do challenge runs. That is probably the least favorite thing to do. But overall, the level itself is fairly easy and nothing really to write home about. As long as you know where the shield attackers are placed, you don't really have to worry too much about damage here. And that was pretty much the level. The rest of it is just a whole bunch of bosses. And since a lot of these bosses can take up a lot of time and things like that, I'm going to speed up, probably in post-editing, because there's really not much more to talk about each of these characters. So Brightman was the hardest one of the bunch, just for the mere fact that he can screw you over just like he did starting off the battle. The more he jumps, the worse this battle is. The less he jumps and just fires upon you, the more you can just pummel him with impunity with all of your shots. But there is so much going on in this battle that he could just screw you over so bad he had to come first. So with him out of the way, things get a little less dicey. I didn't want too much health back, so I just wanted to go with Skullman. There isn't too much more to talk about Skullman that I didn't already in the previous battle. However, I do want to make note that there is a one surefire way of making sure he fires up in between every other shot, is you have to jump toward him. So as you can see, I'm actually angling my jumps back towards him after the first couple shots. It forces him to shoot upward. So yeah, you're jumping away from him to get some distance, but you're also jumping toward him to influence what he does. So if you keep this up, yeah, this battle is long, and probably one of the longest of the 8 Robot Masters, but it isn't really hard once you know what to do and how to manipulate him. So with that, that's pretty much the whole battle for Skullman. He goes down fairly easy and is a good recovery boss in between hard ones. So now that I'm full health, we go for another troublemaker, Drill Man. I've got his pattern down now quite a bit. In fact, I've realized the whole shtick with his drill bombs and what he's actually doing. When he starts his drill bombs, he will do the drill bombs up to 4 at a time, or he hits a wall, whichever comes first. So he'll shoot both drill bombs, all 4, until he uses up all 4, and then he'll decide to do something else. Or he hits the wall, turns around, and then either repeats it, 4 more drill bombs, or does something else. But he will always go in a straight line. He will never switch directions once he starts the drill bombs. But he will switch where he fires, though, if you happen to jump over him. But now that I have figured out how that particular part of his attack works, he's a lot easier to anticipate. He's still hard, though, and probably the worst of the bunch right alongside Brightman. Now Ringman, again, once you get past his initial section, where he's very far away from you shooting his rings, then the rest is just pattern memorization and muscle memory. And it was at this point that I didn't really want to afford dying yet again to this level, so I wanted to use up some of the, at least one of the E-tanks to get through this 8-boss Robot Master rematch stage, because, you know, I'm just not skilled enough for that. Still hasn't really broken my challenge, because I did say I can use E-tanks gathered naturally throughout the levels without farming them. Now, for basically Pharaoh Man, he's only bad if he starts jumping around and starts throwing the Pharaoh shots like he's doing now, trying to screw me over at the very end of the battle. It's easier when he just does the big blasts. Dive Man, I'm not too worried about him. As long as you're on the ground when he's done with his little head crusher, skull crusher move, then he's gonna fire those missiles. But every now and then he'll switch it up and do up to 3 different skull crushers before firing missiles again, so be wary of that. And finally, the least bit here is Dust Man. And I really want people to stop messaging me right now while I'm recording. But yeah, Dustman is probably the speed bane of all runners who want to get fast times on Mega Man 4. because he's really random. There's no telling when he's going to do the suction attack where you can't harm him at all. And that just wastes precious time for a speedrunner, probably up to the point where it ruins a complete run. I would hate to speedrun this game and then Dustman ruins it. Not just once, but twice. You have to face him twice. And of course we end on Toadman. Very simple overall. As long as he doesn't switch things up on you and decide to stay still in one place rather than jump over after a shot, which he has been known to do, and which you'll see in the outtakes. Okay, we have one last thing left to do here, and that is the final Wily machine here. Again, like everything, it has 2 stages. The first stage is actually laughably easy, and you'll see how bad this is. So you want to get right here underneath the lip, and wait for every 3 shots. 1, 2, 3, and then go. That's it. That's all you need to do to beat the first section. I made this way harder when I was first playing this as a young child, and I was trying to avoid and dodge all the shots and shoot from afar. No, you actually need to be close. Getting close makes this battle laughably easy. It's not even a battle. It's just die already so I can get to the next stage of the actual battle, because the next form is the one that I'm really worried about. I mean, I think I have enough E-Tanks to get through this. I mean, I've pretty much been saving the E-Tanks for this next battle, because the final boss isn't really anything right about, but this next battle after this form is the one I'm worried about. I did a practice run, and I didn't do so hot, so hopefully I do better now that I've had a little bit more knowledge. We're almost there. One more. Ah, and I forgot. The explosion actually hurts you, even though he's dead. Okay, there is no way you're going to reach that small little blue thing up there without a charged shot, because if you try and do normal shots, they either don't reach that high or they bounce off. So you kind of have to do the charge buster here. There's no other way around it, or a drill bomb, which of course I'm not doing because it's buster only. And you can still kill him with the buster at some point, so I'm going to use that. This is really the only way to reach him. And these shots are terrible. I am doing just as bad as I was the first time. Okay, I have determined... Oh gosh, I gotta... See, I'm just not doing good. But I've determined what makes him go back and forth. He actually gets closer to your position the less you hit his weak point, but the more you hit his weak point, he actually gets pushed back. See, he's going back now, further to the right. And then, of course, he comes back to you. But the more you're able to land hits on that blue sphere there in the front, the further back he goes, and the easier it is to dodge his shots. But the less you hit the blue sphere, the closer he gets, and the harder it gets to avoid everything he throws at you. Oh, and of course he gets one last hit in at the end. Whew! Oh my goodness, that was insane. Alright, I am so glad that level's over, though. We have a lot of outtakes. So I hope you enjoy them, because I certainly did not. But we are now on to the final level, and honestly, I have completed the hardest challenge in the game at this point, so it's just wrapping up any last-minute loose ends, which is the final Wily boss battle. So, we start here. No suspicious video game generosity this time. It's just a short level and then a boss, so I don't really have much more to say about that. I am super relieved I got through that level. Whew. So until next time, till the final video, everybody, see y'all later, stay retro. So, yeah, most of the deaths weren't actually to the troublemakers like Bright Man, or Drill Man, or Pharaoh Man, or any of those troublemaker robot masters, although they did have their fair share of outtakes. It was actually, a lot of the deaths came from robot masters that were actually supposed to be easy and I was supposed to recover health from. Like, yes, I even died to Toadman, and that's just because he didn't do what I expected him to do, which was he should have jumped over me there. And then, of course, Dustman, which I was like, oh, he's an easy one. I should be able to get some health from him, right? And then, of course, I go and proceed to do poorly and die anyway. So a lot of these deaths are actually from easy bosses just because I thought I could get them without taking a hit, and they ended up being harder than expected, and instead of being a recovery boss, they ended up being a boss where I died on and had an outtake. And then, of course, it got to the end where it's like, you know, I'm probably not going to make it through here on just one E-tank, or on without an E-tank, and I should probably use an E-tank. But of course, the remainder of the outtakes was with Brightman himself. He was literally the worst one. And the one after I started doing Drillman first, I switched targets and I'm like, no, Drillman should be second if anything. Brightman is the target of interest right now because he is the one that would most likely ruin a good run. Like, I could be doing all the other ones perfect, but then Brightman could screw me over so bad. Just like he did there. So glad I'm done with this level.